This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell-Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, Terry, and everybody out there.
That's it. Happy Saturday morning. Saturday before Christmas morning.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
Hope everybody's staying warm.
That's right. Merry Christmas. Stay warm, and stay off the roads if you're in Boone this morning. Little way.
They're salting them.
They are, but they're pretty white this morning coming in. But the first day of winter sure has brought winter with it. So.
Well, I don't think we're going to get a white Christmas, but you never know.
No, I think it's going to warm up. We could get some rain in the afternoon. There's like a 20% chance in the evening, Christmas Day. So I think it's going to be too warm to even think about being snow.
Well, he can still come on and land on the houses.
Santa's actually pretty good about that in North Carolina. I don't know if he switches to wheels on the sleigh, or I don't know what he does, but he's never had a problem getting on my chimney, or my roof and coming down my chimney. So, Anyway, all about home construction here on WAT, and again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, and we appreciate it. So. Well, how's the week been, man? Did you enjoy the winter?
Yeah. A lot of bidding. If anybody's out there had experience with the FEMA or their insurance companies, please call in and tell us how it's going for you. Because, golly, I've had customers. I've spent more time since the hurricane bidding on stuff.
Yep.
And insurance is not reporting back to them.
I have heard that same thing. Many people I know just, when you talk to them, they're like, oh, we're waiting on this, waiting on that. And it's, here we are going into the new year, right? And we all know it's tough to get work done in the winter because we live in the mountains, and it's just conditions don't allow it necessarily. And so that's what worries me is that how much of this is going to get pushed back for till springtime. And then we're going to have this bottleneck in spring and summer of just rush.
It is. And, if it stays cold like this, which, it's going to be up and down, this is, we don't generally get this much snow. We used to get it when we was early, but not now.
Right.
But that's going to hinder a lot of problems, too. But, I was watching TV this week about how many people are still living in campers and tents. Mm-hmm. So think about those folks down around Asheville, Mitchell, Yancey, those counties down there. No,
for sure. I mean, it's, again, 17-degree wind chill right now, and it's it couldn't imagine. So
it's gone out of our system. That used to be quite common. Up until about the 40s, people living in tents out west and stuff like that still.
Well, I think it's all about what we're conditioned to, and it's, you think back and like you said, but cold is cold, and when you're not used to it, it's rough.
And I worry about the children.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And, Valley Crucis School, they got hit real hard, so they're displaced in 3 different areas.
Yeah, they're spread out, again at the community college, and then at the Valley Crucis Conference Center.
And Deb told me that the kindergartners were somewhere else.
I think there's a group that pre-K or kindergarten. I think it's pre-K. Don't hold me to it.
Yeah, pre-K.
It's at App State. They're using App State. So it's hats off to the community for coming in and helping. But it's just a logistical nightmare. It's just like everything else. Like you got to logistics of getting the kids there to places that weren't set up as a school building.
Well, they had all Valley Crucis uptown.
I know. I saw that.
And
was
they said
awesome.
They were all. What movie were they watching?
I didn't catch the movie, to be honest.
Disney?
I just kept looking all the pictures and look at the friends and stuff that work over there. I know Dr. Smith. I know she was pretty excited to get everybody back together there. So that was pretty cool.
Have to commend Watauga County, because then they got to go to Appalachian State University and play in the gym. First time they played in the gym since the hurricane.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then again, thanks to App State. I will say, when you live local, there's some headaches that come with living in a college town, with the younger kids and the population. But I will say App State really stepped up during the hurricane and post hurricane for the community, and so that's been pretty cool to see.
Well, the whole county.
Yeah.
And they're finally getting a lot of the junk out. When I was coming in this morning, I seen a tractor trailer parked up on the side of 421 trying to back up to the junk pile.
At the intersection there.
Yep, and I'm going, might be a little slick getting in that hole today.
There's still quite a bit of roads that, secondary roads that have piles. They told us to pile it up. And I feel like, and this isn't a knock. I mean, I know there's just so much, but I do feel like there's quite a bit still that needs to be picked up. And I don't know how that effort's going. I don't know if it's slowed down or if it's just that they're getting more further out in the county and remote. I don't know.
Well, at least 421's open.
Yep, that's right.
Today's the first day I passed 3 tractor trailers in a row going down Boone Mountain.
Oh, that makes a huge difference. And then I still don't know about Damascus. I'll be honest. I haven't seen what's going on. I haven't paid attention to what's above Mountain City into Damascus. I don't know if that's open.
Yeah, it opened real fast. There was a bunch of coal miners come out of West Virginia. And
I did see that, but I guess I didn't realize it was actually open. But I did hear on Interstate 40, close to the North Carolina-Tennessee line, they had another setback, another slide and stuff, and so they think that interstate repair is going to take a little bit longer now. Which, if you have been traveling, we're talking about travel season. If you go anywhere, on any interstate, as we leave the high country, it's been rough. I mean, I've been taking to go to my parents and hit 77. There's a lot of traffic that's coming out of up 77 to 81 to get towards Knoxville, rather than because they can't take 40. It's really increased the traffic in that sections, and especially as you get closer to that intersection in Withfield, Fort Chiswell. But 81 itself is just piled up compared to normal, going all the way down towards Knoxville.
Oh, I guess so.
And it's been anyone that lives in that corridor is feeling it for sure, traffic wise. So.
Well, it's always heavy traffic anyhow.
Right. But you add, you don't realize it, but then you start to think about there's a lot of traffic that comes through 40 from Statesville area to Knoxville. Like that's a heavily traveled road for a lot of trucks, and trucks clearly can't go that way.
I guess they'll go 77 now.
That's it, 77 to 81, and it's just bottlenecking everything.
I don't know how 26 is, in Asheville.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. But anyway, enough about roads. Let's get back to construction right after this. Thanks for listening to us. The Boone VFW Post 7031 is looking at making improvements to their Veterans Memorial Wall, and you can help. Here's Chuck.
We could do engraved bricks to cover the memorial. It's in honor of the veterans who have served and some that have given their all for our country. And that's the one thing that we feel as the VFW that we can do to honor those who have come before and those who are even present today.
But Chuck, what do we have to do to participate?
You don't have to be a war veteran in order to be a part of this memorial. It's just that you served.
What is the cost?
That fee is only $50, but it's a lifetime investment.
If you would like to help participate by honoring a family member, a friend, or a loved one, you can contact the Boone VFW Post 7031 at 828-264-9570. They are on VFW Drive, just off of State Farm Road here in Boone. Thank you for all that have served. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Merry Christmas to you guys. And, it's certainly winter here in the high country. First day of winter, and we are feeling it, but that's all right. It's the way we like it, I guess.
Hey.
Build a snowman outside in 17-degree weather, but it's going to be gone tomorrow, so it doesn't matter.
Well, maybe a little sleigh ride in the ground will be frozen. It don't take much.
Right?
Don't take much snow when the ground's frozen, sleigh ride.
Fair. But no, thanks for all the callers we get, and we just got some just off during the break there. We appreciate all that. And so, Randy, I actually have a question for you. I guess we'll pose this as listener questions, and that is, 4 days from now is Christmas Day, and we talk so much about roof and ceiling systems and roofing systems and things. What is it we need to worry about when as far as like Santa's sleigh coming on there? Is there any damage we got to worry about? I mean, with the added weight of the reindeer and the sleigh.
Well, let's think about this. If the average reindeer weighs 175 pounds, okay, so let's do the math on that right there real fast. Well, 175 divided by 4, that means there's only 43 pounds per hoof on the roof.
Oh, that's what you're saying. But
see, so if there's one reindeer on one side of the ridge and one reindeer on the other side of the ridge,
it balances out.
Yeah, and see, North Carolina codes builds for rafter systems to support sleigh weights.
Okay, fair.
All right. Now, another thing too is Santa's sleigh is one of these sleighs that are light, because think about all the packages he has to carry when he leaves.
Fair.
Makes
sense. No.
FedEx don't ship him packages when he's in the air.
Sure. Well, that's fair. Okay, that's what I was curious. We worry so much about snow loads on roof. And it's and it's nice to know that Santa's sleigh is covered over there.
And up in the northern states, it might help out the homeowner with the high snow, especially around Buffalo and Erie, PA. So it might help knock a little bit of that snow off the roof for them.
That would actually be a good thing. So
but
Santa's
you know what's
going
to happen? As soon as the snow's gone, it's going to come back and cover up the tracks. So.
Well, I mean that's just the way it rolls. You can't see it for sure. But okay, what about chimneys? It's that time of year. Maybe you've got a fire going in the chimney. Is there any precautions we need to take for Santa when it comes to like chimney care?
No, I think he has a flame retardant suit.
Gotcha.
In his bag too, so it keeps everything protected. Now I don't know about his beard now.
Well, it stays white, so it must work out pretty well.
And so think about the throat on most chimneys are a 12 by 24 flue liner.
Right.
And y'all know, when he has as big as Santa Claus is, he's got to shrink up to go down there.
Sure. Yeah, that's some of that weird Christmas magic I just don't understand. But yeah, that makes total sense because he gets in there with the bag.
Are you going to stay up all night this year to see if you can catch him?
I mean, this is for the last 40-something years I've tried. It seems like the closest I came was I just barely missed him. I mean, I woke up. I'm pretty sure I heard the sleigh take off because the cookies were gone and I didn't eat them yet. So either I ate them in my sleep. I just dozed off, I think, though, and then.
That's the magic of Christmas.
The magic of Christmas. So, but yes. So sorry, kids. It doesn't matter how late you try to stay up, you're gonna miss it. So you might as well just go to bed early, so that you don't have to worry about it. Probably makes it easier on Santa too. So, but
of course it does.
Yeah. But rest assured, Santa's sleigh is not going to tear up the house. He's pretty good. He's got some tricks up his sleeves. I don't know all of his tricks, but he's got some tricks up his sleeves if you don't have a chimney also.
Now, have you ever seen the feet of a reindeer? They got pads on them, so they can't slip and slide.
Interesting. Nice. So, okay. So even, well, again, when we look ahead to Christmas Eve, it looks like it's going to be sunny and cloudy here in Boone, in the high country. So, but yeah, I mean, he can land on the house. So we don't have to worry about that part. We don't have to worry about the structural damage, and we don't have to worry about cleaning because some magic suit that he's got doesn't make the soot fall down in the chimney. So that's good to know.
Well, it's not really getting down the chimney that's the hard part. It's getting past the damper.
I see that. I always wondered that. Like,
so
that amazes me though, because that's gotta slow you up every chimney.
No, Santa Claus. Think about it, he's had centuries to work this out.
Fair. I I know that some people's dampers don't work the same as others, and there's like, what if you ran into like a new system? Everyone's trying to like always come up with something new and modern, and I don't know. We need a Santa trap, I guess, maybe. That's how we trap Santa, in a damper. So it's good to know. Good to know. But
Well, I get excited too, just like everybody else does.
yep, it's the magic of Christmas. So, all right. Well, rest assured, kids, Santa's not going to tear up the house. So hopefully that part will be okay. So,
Well, think about this. The first recorded celebration on Christmas was December 25th in 336 A.D.
mm-hmm.
So he's had a lot of practice.
It's true. I mean, that's quite a bit of practice, sure enough. So,
And so Santa's prepared for everything. And just think about the army of elves he has behind him, making sure he can take care of stuff.
that's, okay, so since we're a construction show, I do have a question about the Army of Elves. Do you think, I mean, it's a whole complex, North Pole. I mean, it's a city, right? I mean, it's a factory. I mean, but it's got to be like a factory town. So my question is, do you think there's like construction elves that their focus is not on the toys, their focus is on the living conditions for the elves that make the toys?
Oh, have to be. And, they probably are amongst us.
Yeah?
Because, you have to have wood for structures.
Where do you get it? They're not growing wood in the North Pole, sure enough.
Yep.
Sure enough.
And because, you can't grow trees.
Yeah.
But, see, now, think about Canada.
It's a little closer.
Yeah. Now, spruce will grow in cold weather.
What about, what do they grow in Russia?
I
mean, I know there's trees, but what is it? Is it a spruce tree?
It's spruce, type of spruce. Let's see what we can find out.
I mean, I'm just thinking, when you're looking at the North Pole and the radius, because I'm sure Canada probably could supply them with about all they need, but I'm just curious if they ever get like Russian wood. Of course, if I was Santa,
well, trees that grow in Upper Russia would probably be similar to Canada. Would be oak, spruce, ash, and aspen.
Okay, so they have good variety of.
Aspen tree doesn't grow very big.
Right.
Matter of fact, when OSB was invented, they were using aspen tree because it was just, they considered aspen a junk tree.
Yeah.
And you remember when OSB was brown? Had dark brown flakes in it? That was from the aspen.
That was the aspen. Huh?
So with the oak, that would take care of Santa's and the elf's structural part. All right, the spruce would take care of the trim parts, the sheeting parts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So ash would be the flooring part. You being a flooring guy,
I know that.
You should have jumped on that pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious what the sleigh is made out of. I mean, I would imagine he's gone to some kind of polymer now. But being a wood guy, I like to hope there's some sort of I don't know, like a birch or something, right?
Well,
something a little lightweight but sturdy.
When I was a Boy Scout, we had to do that Adirondack thing.
Yeah.
And we made ours sleigh out of firewood because firewood was strong, but it was real light.
Yeah.
And I remember going out in the woods with Jim Bird, and we walked all the way through the woods, and he picked out 2 trees, and they both had crooks in them, just like sleigh runners.
Nice.
And that's how he made the whole thing.
Out of sourwood.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
So probably the whole sleigh didn't weigh 50 pounds.
Right. So, okay, here's a question. Now, I've never gotten coal. Is coal, do you think he's sourcing that out of like West Virginia, Kentucky, the Appalachian region?
Well, even Canada's got coal.
Right.
So I don't know.
I just know that the coal in the Appalachian Mountains is quality stuff.
Well, the North American coal is the cleanest coal in the world.
Yeah.
And there's 2 types of coal.
Yeah. The coal that you use and the coal that Santa gives you. I just don't know which coal Santa gives you.
Lignite is the lowest grade, and bituminous is the most abundant. Awful burn for heat.
Gotcha.
And I don't know which coal is used for forging steel. And anthrite, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is the highest grade coal possible.
Okay. Well, I would imagine that Santa's not getting the top quality coal. I mean, he clearly, if you get coal for Christmas, then clearly he's not going to spend a lot of time and money on giving you coal for Christmas. So.
I sort of I miss the smell of coal because I grew up around coal.
Right. Coal is interesting. I have tried cooking in a coal stove before, and it worked out. But I mean, clearly as one who has only done it a few times, I had a hard time getting the thing to stay lit. Once I got it going, it was fine.
Well, you had to use a little starter.
But there was quite a bit of kerosene. We were pouring it out of a lamp at some point because we ran out.
When my shop burned down, I had a bag of coal in it because I had a stove that I could put coal in.
Yep. Those are great stoves. But okay, so Santa probably has a good solid coal supply.
Probably, and he probably uses oak too because oak burns good.
Well, see, and that's what I was wondering too. Like, when you're up there, can you, the waste products from these spruce trees and stuff? Because clearly you got to make some toys and stuff. You got to have lumber. I'm curious if he is able to, with the regulations of the building codes and things like that at the North Pole, like to hear if I come to your job site, you're not really allowed to just use all your scraps as firewood.
No, we're not. It's against the law, actually. Excuse me. We used to have, burn barrels and stuff to stay warm. But with the advent of space heaters, propane heaters, it's a lot cheaper.
Sure.
And
I'm just curious, though, with being at the North Pole, I would imagine they have a large boiler system. I'm curious if they're able to use their, go green, right? Like use their scraps to fire up.
Well, I would think so. Yeah. I wouldn't think they'd burn the plastic, but
sure.
But the wooden stuff, cardboard byproducts, stuff like that.
Good to know.
Oh, Santa Claus, man, he's got science behind him.
Science and technology, baby. That's why we like him. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Merry Christmas to all of you, and especially our younger listeners this morning. And no worries, we'll put this up on the podcast. So for those of you that are listening, maybe you have kids or grandkids that are curious about the house, and just Christmas. How does all the Santa stuff work? In terms of home construction, we have your back here all about home construction.
Golly, I made all my excellent guesses there when he was asking me these questions.
You're doing it, man.
The only thing that I found out is Santa Claus has a smelter.
No, he doesn't. No, seriously.
Yeah.
All right. So explain to our younger listeners what the smelter does.
A smelter is fired by coal, all right, to melt minerals down for steel, copper, aluminum products and stuff for your gifts.
Gotcha.
And I'm trying to find out where he gets his wrapping paper from. Surely it's not Georgia Pacific.
Well, it can't be Big Lots. They're closed. Yeah, I would just. It's amazing, and the paint. Think of the paint products that go through Santa's workshop. It's got to be low VOC stuff. I mean, the elves. I would imagine they probably have a nice little like paint booth set up so that they're not breathing in those harmful fumes.
Well, especially being in the North Pole.
Right.
And being in enclosed, using coal to heat their smelter.
Yeah.
That smelter would probably heat all the complexes that they had.
I would think. Yeah. No, I would totally think you're right on that. Yeah. I would also imagine, though, we talked a lot about Russia. I really wasn't even thinking about the Scandinavian countries because I would imagine having the reindeer, he probably has a lot of connections and sources with those Scandinavian countries. And there's quite a bit of wood materials that come out. And one of the best wood floors that I ever put in, the engineered products, that was still solid wood, or not solid wood, but still real wood. That's the word I'm looking for. I know came out of Sweden. That was one of the best floors. I love putting those floors down. They just went together so well and they look so nice. So I would imagine that he's probably got some Scandinavian connections, though, when it comes to not just the materials to build the toys, but also the materials for again, just the construction and renovation of the factory town, right?
Yeah. Well, think about this. In Canada alone, there's 3.5 million hectares of wilderness. So the elves can travel anywhere. And think about that. They probably got mining operations up there. They talked about smelters. Well, Canada and even Russia, I'll have to look it up how much wild areas in Russia there are, but golly, that just leaves them a lot of areas that they can sneak around and nobody can see them.
Well, and that makes you wonder, like maybe that is the reason that he chose geographically the North Pole, because we think of the world like on a flat map because we see it on a map so often, right? But when you realize it's a sphere, it's a globe, that he can fly 3 hours in either direction, right, and get to 3 continents.
Yep. 63.3 million hectares in Russia alone.
Right.
So that's 100 and some million hectares of raw land that the elves can go anywhere they want to go to.
Sure. So when we talk about, in the construction field, we talk a lot about tariffs, and things like that. Like that certainly has driven up the cost of lumber here in the U.S. over the last, decade.
Yeah, especially most people don't realize that a lot of tariffs started in 2001.
Right.
And that caused the first housing, not the housing crunch, but increased lumber costs there. Mm-hmm. They even back in the 70s, timber companies was starting to charge more money for framing and stuff that was putting it out of sight. It's been a long time since I read that article, but
right.
The federal government stepped in and subsidized the timber companies.
Right.
We don't think about if we've had loggers listen to our show and stuff, and they know exactly what it takes to log.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you're a guy wanting to get in the business and start in the business, it's going to cost you a lot of money just to learn your equipment and learn it.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. Well, I mean, that's. I would just imagine though that he's got quite a bit of trade agreements himself with these countries, so these tariffs are not an impact for him.
No, probably the elves. There is probably no tariffs for him.
One would assume.
I mean, think about it. That's Santa Claus.
Right.
And if he's got 100 and some million hectares of property, does that mean Santa Claus is a thief?
No, he trades. he trades. It's all about networking. Because we think of so much of monetary systems, right? Like if I want something from you, I'm giving you money. But Santa's old school. You said so yourself, right? It goes back to that bartering system. The fact that he is providing this service for all these kids all over the world, right? Of delivering these toys. It's a bartering system, and so just like what we've seen here in the high country over the last, especially the last couple months, right, is this outpouring of love and support from the community, and just donations and giving and helping others out. I think it probably goes the same way with Santa. I would imagine there's a lot of goodwill and giving and trading and bartering. In knowing that kids are getting presents in return, and just the joy of Christmas presents.
Think about how he's kept up with technology. These have to be some super smart elves.
Sure. That would be a huge one for me. Again, and I'm still stuck on the infrastructure of the workshop. I would imagine though that technology plays a big role in that. Look at how much. Think of your smart homes today, right? Even all the way down to that doorbell camera, that's still like smart technology, thermostats that are you can turn on wherever. I would imagine though that the elves have a bunch of that themselves, plus the fact that they're using and making some of these technologies for toys.
Yeah, I would think so. They'd have to be pretty sharp elves.
Yeah. Do you think that, I'm just going back to the sleigh because we mentioned technology. It's 17 degrees outside. If I'm fancy and have a nice car, I can start it from in the side of the recording studio here. I would imagine the sleigh's the same.
Well, no, they probably keep it in a warm building.
It's fair. Don't have to warm it up. Just when I guess it's pretty warm when. Because Santa's only in off the sleigh for a few minutes. It's a quick in and out. It makes sense. So.
Well, one time when I was a kid, I had a old man give me some buggy wheels, and I disassembled them and put them back together, and the buggy wheels was quite light. And my daughter-in-law's daddy,
right?
He had a sleigh. It was a 4-person sleigh. And believe it or not, 2 people could pick it up and carry it. That's how light it was, even with the steel in it. Because it had the spars that came down, but the runners were steel, and they had rods that went up that bolted. So, I mean, our wood rights or wheel rights, that's what I guess would make them.
Right.
Had the technology and the training from all these decades, centuries of wagon building.
Sure, that would make total sense, and that would explain why the sleigh is so light, right? They're able to use this technology. So here's something though, because I love history. This is something I saw here in North America. I would imagine they had it in Europe too, 'cause probably came over from there. So when you go back 100, 200 years ago, there was actually a job where the person's job was to pack snow with a roller. Have you seen these? They go behind, typically pull behind like a horse or something, right? Think of it as like like we think of the steam big rollers at asphalt. It's essentially that, but it's pulled behind behind horses. So it's a heavy roller that packs the snow so that and this is a New England thing, so that if you're in New England and you have a sleigh in the wintertime, right, like the horses and stuff it packs it down. That's what I'm trying to say. I read across that the other day. I was like, that is cool. I would imagine that Santa has quite a bit of setups very similar up there. So I don't know. It's cool stuff. We'll take a break. We'll come right back right after this. Thank you so much for being part of the All About Home Construction community. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you the best content, and we're thrilled to have you as a valued listener. We want to thank the winners of our sticker contest: Elizabeth, Diane, Mark, Linda, Scott, Chuck, Deb, William, Katie, and Colin. We hope you guys enjoy the prize, and for everyone out there, don't forget to share the podcast with your families and friends. We'll have more contests soon, so everyone can be a winner. That's right, All About Home Construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Merry Christmas to all of you, and we appreciate all of you out there listening. Please share this one. It'll be up after the show. The podcast will be, share it with your grandkids, share it with your kids. We hope they enjoy it. And just getting some questions about Christmas and Santa and his sleigh and how it relates to the construction industry. And during the break, Randy, I was doing some more research, and apparently the North Pole actually uses quite a bit of igloos for elving houses. And so it's not while there's quite a bit of wood, obviously, and it makes total sense, right? They have access to ice, so they're making these igloos, and they actually have an inspection department, a building inspection. It's called the Igloo Inspection Department, though. Wow! Instead of building inspections, so that the architectural apparently is this huge thing, in the igloo community. So they're doing all sorts of fancy architectural work. They're putting like trim work and things like that. So inside of these these igloo houses. So pretty cool, really fascinating stuff. Yeah. So you actually was doing a little research yourself because again, we're just so fascinated with the load of the roof on the and holding up the sleigh. And we're kind of curious, like, what is that? What does the sleigh look like?
Well, I got to looking it up on the internet here because, the internet don't lie. And they're saying that Santa's sleigh is 35 foot long. Wow. No wonder it takes 8 reindeers.
Sure.
And I wonder if it's ever foggy really every year when he leaves to have Rudolph on the front. Extra.
Well, I would imagine with and I know the song doesn't help me out on this, but just making some assumptions, I would imagine that Rudolph flies quite a bit because traditionally, right, there were no airplanes. It's just recent in the modern history that we have airplanes and such high air traffic, right? Like there's more air traffic now than ever before. So I would imagine that Rudolph on these, for instance, this year when there's not going to be a lot of snow, if it's not that foggy, I would imagine that he would double up as a sort of a light beacon. When you see the airplanes flying across the sky with lights flashing. Yeah. I would imagine that Rudolph's nose kind of acts as that same, just so he doesn't, airplane and air traffic can avoid him.
Yeah. I wonder if they've been flying around practicing around these drones in New Jersey.
That could very well be what those drones were. I also have heard some speculation that maybe those drones, I think the elves may be looking into some of the drone technology, for delivering some of the materials. So we have a caller on the air. Good morning, caller. Who are we speaking with?
This is Matt Mellon.
How are you, Matt?
About Rudolph's nose, for night flight in IMC conditions, the sleigh is actually required to have a green light on the starboard side and a red light on the port side. It also has to have a rotating beacon, and Rudolph's nose is actually FAA certificated as a rotating beacon.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I just thought I'd help you clarify that. All right.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. Merry Christmas to you guys.
We appreciate that.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, I've been concerned about that, especially being a radio guy. If you see a radio tower, they always got the flashing lights, and that's all FAA related. So that explains it. That explains it. Now, I also know that NORAD, which tracks all of the flight systems, I do know that they're tracking Santa. They've got an arrangement with him, so they will be tracking him again this year over at NORAD, by the way.
I know. I got so excited last year after, that I called my grand youngins to wake them up, tell them that Santa'd be here in an hour. It took them an hour and a half to get over there, and they missed him.
Told you, you can never get him. It doesn't matter how late you stay up. You might as well just go into bed, kids, because I'm an old man, and I have tried many, many times to catch Santa, and it just doesn't happen. Does not happen.
He's good. He's quick.
I even tried, like we said, those Ring cameras, the doorbell cameras. I've tried that. Hadn't caught him, hoping that he would come in the door instead of the chimney. I'm telling you, man, Santa's got his ways. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So
well, he is Santa Claus. Think about it. How many centuries has he had to prepare?
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's pretty cool stuff. Fascinating stuff. But again, was also doing some more research during that last break, and when I found out the Igloo inspection department, they actually have, how you have to go continuing education classes as a contractor, learning about new technologies. They actually, the team of elves that help Santa out, actually have there's a division that does the same things, this continuing education for construction products. So there actually are elves that pay attention to things like rooftop loads, so that they know how to pack the sleigh and distribute that weight, like you mentioned. There's chimney access experts, elves as well, that specialize, because there's so many different types of chimneys. Some magical doorway systems for those that don't have chimneys, so that Santa can still get in without a chimney. There's different departments when it comes to the construction industry.
Do you think FedEx and UPS took lessons from them? On
Maybe.
Package delivery?
I mean, maybe. That's where I'm wondering if that's where those drones were, that we've been hearing about in the news. Maybe some of that is some of that infusion of technology with.
Because think about packaging.
Sure.
The sleigh is so large it carries millions of packages.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about the size of his bag.
Yeah, well, that's the magic of Christmas, man.
And then it has to be in order for the first place he goes to. Mm-hmm. And isn't it an island off New Zealand?
Right. I do want to, as we start to wrap things up, I do want to remind the kids too that the Grinch, the chimneys in Whoville are made a lot different than the chimneys here in the United States, especially the high country. You can't get a Christmas tree up our chimneys.
Nope.
So if you are listening and you're worried about the Grinch coming and taking the Christmas trees like he does to Whoville, that's not an issue here in the high country. He can't get them up through the chimney. So I think you're safe there. He may steal the cookies. For those that put out the reindeer food too, the Grinch may certainly get that. I can't promise you anything, but I also know that he is not nearly as fast as Santa is, and I know that Santa gets there way before the Grinch ever thinks about it. So I don't think we're going to even see the Grinch here in the high country this year. I don't think it's going to be an issue. But if it was an issue, no worries. He can't, and he has a hard time with those dampers. He's not Santa.
Oh, of course. And believe it or not, this last week, the Grinch got arrested in South Carolina.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's great news for all of our listeners out there. So,
and he was going through stealing packages, and it's on video.
Sweet.
And they even had his mug page on.
So I'm guessing he's probably
there he is. They're showing. I'm watching the video.
And I would imagine, being in South Carolina, he probably broke several state laws, like interstate laws. So they probably are keeping him.
He's 6'3" tall.
Wow.
So you can look it up on the internet where he got arrested.
Okay. So he's probably going to be locked up for a little while. So the Grinch is not going to be an issue this year.
Well, he can probably bond out. So be careful.
Right.
And So there you go.
But I also hear that he looks at Santa's. He's got his own tricks up his sleeve. He goes after the naughty list first because he thinks that's funny. So should be good to go. Should be good to go for most listeners out there. So anyway, I think we got this. We got you covered. All about home construction. Merry Christmas to all of you. Thanks to all of our listeners, both young and old. Again, this will be up on the podcast, All About Home Construction. We'll put up on the Facebook page and or just go on YouTube towards the end of the day on Saturday, and I'll have it up there for all of our listeners to listen. Maybe I'll find a fancy fireplace, and you could sit and listen to Randy and Terry. Thanks for listening to us. Randy, we have one more show for the year, but until then, Merry Christmas, and thanks for hanging out with me this year.
Yeah, I loved it.
All right, man. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Again, we really appreciate you tuning in to another episode of All About Home Construction here on the podcast. We truly appreciate you joining us every week.
Absolutely. It's listeners like you that make this show possible and keeps us motivated to bring you the best home construction tips, insights, and stories.
Hey, so if you're enjoying this show, we would love for you to help us out and spread the word. Share this episode with a friend or on social media. Anyone who might find our tips and advice helpful.
That's right. And if you want to go the extra mile to support the show, consider becoming a patron. Your support helps us keep producing great content week after week.
Yeah, so just head on over to the link at the bottom and check out the different support options. Every little bit helps, and we've got some fun perks lined up for our patrons as well.
And thank you again for being part of All About Home Construction family. We can't wait to keep building with you.
That's right. Thanks a lot.
Thank y'all.